This conference will now be recorded.
Mary Jo, can we start with the roll call, please?
Yes, Amin,
Here.
Brown,
Here.
Hatfield,
Here.
Moe,
Here.
Rommelfinger,
Present.
Shu,
Here.
Velasquez. I see you, John.
Present.
So, okay, great. Thanks.
Has everyone had a chance to review our last meetings? And if there's any modifications or objections, can we please have them now? Can we now have a motion to approve those meetings?
I make a motion that we approve the meetings, minutes from the November 4th, 2020 meeting.
Second,
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to our public hearings and new business. Let's start with the hearing to consider a new lodging and entertainment license for the establishment at Bradburn Village. Do we have the applicants and any authorized representatives here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, we'll call you up shortly.
Okay.
Is there anybody here besides the applicant? Is there anybody here besides the applicant that would be interested in the hearing today?
Yes, my name is Randy Roberts. I'm the applicant's husband, as well as our liquor business consultant, Phoebe Hall. She's joining us via phone.
Okay. Mary Jo, if you can read the application into the record, please.
Okay. Again, this is for the board to consider a lodging and entertainment liquor license with a cabaret license application for from Explore Bradburn Operations LLC, doing business as the establishment at Bradburn Village, located at 11885 Bradburn Boulevard. The property is zoned planned unit development, PUD, and the sale of alcoholic beverages by the drink for on-premise consumption is an allowed use. Notice of this hearing was published in the Westminster Window on November 19th, and the property has been posted with signage to notify passersby of the date and time of this hearing for more than 10 days preceding the hearing. And just a special note, it's actually been noticed for way longer than that, because it was originally noticed for the November 18th hearing. So they've had lots of time for those notices to be seen. The designated neighborhood boundaries for petitioning purposes were on the north 122nd Drive, on the south 116th Avenue, on the west Sheridan Boulevard, and on the east Lowell Boulevard. Surveying was done by Oedipus Inc., and the report of results together with the map showing where petitioning was conducted is attached. There are currently no other lodging and entertainment licenses in the designated neighborhood. A report from Westminster Police Department regarding the results of the investigation on the applicant is attached, and Liquor Enforcement Officer Troy Gordonier will be present to provide his findings. I enter this information for the record.
If there are no objections from the board, then I'd like to accept the city clerk's file into evidence.
I do have one question. Why was this public hearing moved from November 8th to December 2nd?
Because I was sick and I couldn't get into the office to complete the packet for you all. So that's why we made the decision to continue it until this hearing date.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, with that, I'd like to thank the applicants for having some patience on this. If there are no other objections, then I'd like to accept the city clerk's file into evidence. Okay, next we'll request the police department report to be presented. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony we're about to give is true and correct?
Yes, Troy Gordonier, Liquor Enforcement Officer on behalf of the city. Police Department did receive the application for the lodging and entertainment liquor license for the establishment at Bradburn. This is the location. The location is of the former Noah's Event Center. Backgrounds were conducted on the applicants. I have since received the results from those backgrounds, and there was nothing that would adversely reflect upon their character. Based on that, documentation was also provided for funding of the business, which appears to be proper. So based on that, the Westminster Police Department does not have any reason to deny application.
Does the board have any questions regarding the police report? Does the applicant have any questions?
No.
Okay. Mary Jo will accept the police department report into evidence, please. Has everyone had a chance to review the survey by Adikis? Has the applicant had a chance to review the survey?
Yes.
Does the applicant have any questions on that?
I don't have any questions at this time.
Do you have any objections to the board entering the report into the record?
No.
Okay, we'll accept the survey report into evidence, Mary Jo. Now we'll call on the applicant. Who will be testifying?
Me, Mari Roberts.
Okay, please raise your right hand. And do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct?
I do.
Please say and spell your name and address for the record.
Okay, my name is Mari Roberts. It's M-A-U-R-I. Last name is R-O-B-E-R-T-S. And my home address is 14340 Osage, O-S-A-G-E Street in Westminster, 80023.
Thank you. Do you have a statement that you can give to the board to give us an idea of what you'll be doing?
Yes, I do actually. To tell you a little bit about myself, I am a Westminster born and raised resident. I lived in the Bradburn community when I first got married, saw the Noah's building be built, and kind of fell in love with it, and also the idea of running an event center. So had a baby at the time and then had two more, and I'm a fitness instructor. I actually teach for the city of Westminster on occasion. So I have a lot of time spent in the area. And so when this building came up for sale during quarantine, we kind of thought it was meant to be. My kids are all in school and it was just a good opportunity. Obviously timing, you just kind of jump and hope that, it all works out. So we're super excited about the opportunity and to kind of live out my dream within the community that I was, haven't left. I still live in Westminster, so I didn't go very far.
Does the board have any questions for the applicant? John Rofemeyer.
Yeah, how will you manage the establishment, or do you have a separate manager or on premises?
I'm the manager of the establishment.
And what are your hours of operation?
So my hours of operation, Sunday through Thursday, all events will end by 10 p.m. And then on Fridays and Saturdays, all events will end at midnight.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little about, what events are you going to be holding? Are you going to be holding weddings? Are you going to be holding birthday parties? Are you going to be providing your own liquor outside, vendors?
So we actually are catering more to weddings. So our venue has a really good setup. I don't know if you've been in there before, but it has multiple rooms for bride's room, groom's room, ceremonies, and then your dinner and dancing. So it's a pretty good setup for a wedding venue. So that's what we're catering to mostly. We will do all other milestone events as well. And then what was the second part of your question? I'm sorry.
Will you be providing your own staff to serve the liquor, or you be using outside caterers to do your own?
I will be using outside tip certified vendors like With a Twist or Peak Beverage that are licensed bartenders.
Okay.
Can you tell the board if you have any experience in the liquor industry?
You know, I don't have any experience. I've just completed my tip certification class, and I'm learning as I go, but I've hired a third-party consultant who is a liquor consultant that's going to be helping me make sure that I'm doing everything according to the law. And, you know, we just really want to keep the community safe, and I want to do just the right thing. And obviously, I know that my, you know, reputation and everything is on the line with this as well. So definitely want to take that serious.
Okay, with that said, since you're the manager, it's important that you understand the rules and regulations very well. My question is, how do you tell a adult ID and a minor ID? What's the glaring difference?
So the way that they're, set up, so vertically or horizontally. And then in the tip certifications class, there's multiple ways to tell between real and fake IDs. And we will be carding for all ages. So we will card every single person.
Okay. John.
So I got a question. How will you be holding these outside vendors accountable for serving alcohol, and if they do get a violation?
Definitely. So when we're hiring these outside, with a Twist or Peak Beverage, we will also have an event manager at all of our events that will be managing and just keeping an eye out for, bartenders. And also we will have security as well. We also have security cameras all installed that we just installed this week. And everything will be locked up with only access for the event manager. The event manager will be the only one to have access to that room.
So will you be putting the liability on yourself, or will you be putting the liability on the third-party vendor?
Both.
And if I can just supplement that, sorry to jump in, but our goal is really to work with maybe 2 or 3 consistent vendors, all of which are well respected within the community. A lot of those names and those relationships come with Phoebe. And so the goal would be to obviously have a repeat relationship with these vendors so that they not only respect our facility, but also the neighboring community. In terms of liability, we know that Mari's name is going to be on the liquor license. And so at the end of the day, the buck stops with her. She appreciates that. But at the same time, having good, well-heeled vendors is important as well.
So before we accept the testimony, I have to swear you. You swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is true and correct?
I do.
Please say your name and address for the record.
My name is Randy Roberts, RANDY ROBERTS. My home address is 14340 Osage Street, Westminster, 80023.
Okay, now you can go ahead and see if you can quickly repeat what you explained.
I apologize for being out of order.
This is what we consider a memory test.
Of course. As I was saying, just we expect to have 2 or 3 vendors that we have a repeat relationship with that come highly recommended from our liquor consultant, Phoebe Hall, and really holding them accountable to our facility and the neighborhood around us, such that they're going to want to come back and continue to perform services for future events. But at the end of the day, Mari, I believe, is well aware that the buck stops with her. Her name's on the license, and so at the end of the day, we got to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to, and we're aware of that.
Thank you.
I have a question. Can you hear me, David?
Yes.
Okay, my question, hello, how are you guys?
Hi.
My question is weddings, okay? And I've been to quite a few weddings. You have all ages of people, so it's not quite like a bar type situation. So, and what kind of plan is it for, they would be constantly, the bartenders would be constantly IDing a person as they purchase their alcohol, but you also have a table with, mixed family ages, and then them bringing drinks back to the table, so to speak. What's your idea on managing that type of an issue with the alcohol?
Definitely. So I was actually at an event, a wedding in October, and I was watching kind of the way that the bartender was running everything. And so as an event manager, I was the event manager for this wedding. And as the event manager, it's my job to keep an eye on that kind of thing, where the bartenders can't see what's maybe going on at the table, but there will be an event manager kind of walking around and, just keeping an eye out for that exact thing. And, basically, if we saw that there was a problem, we would approach that individual. If we saw anything that was, being, against the law, we would make sure to, nip that in the bud right away and not let that continue. And also we would shut the event down if we knew that it was, continuing to be a problem. So I definitely think that that's something to just keep, you just have to keep an eye on that, because that can happen at any kind of event. So we need to make sure myself or whoever the event manager is keeping an eye out for that kind of thing.
Is this something you would discuss with the whoever rents the facility, the bride and groom or whoever does it? Are these something in your plans to review the liquor issue with the actual client, so that they're aware of it right up front, and that you would be approaching a table if you see something like that happen, just not as to cause a problem with your actual, don't spoil the wedding to the bride and groom type of situation?
Yes, we have that written into our contract that if anybody were to bring any outside liquor or take any liquor off premises, and if it continued to be a problem, we would shut the event down, and we would also keep their deposit. So we make sure that that's very clear in our contract.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, any breach of our alcohol policy. I'm actually a lawyer by training, not a liquor lawyer, but our contract does specifically reference the alcohol policy, and breach of that policy suffering a forfeiture of the security deposit as a potential consequence.
David, I just wanted to mention, I think John Velasquez is calling in because his speaker's not working, and I think he had some questions he wanted to ask.
Okay.
John, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Am I on? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, just a few questions here. I was looking at the layout of your restaurant and bar, and it's got two entrances. Can you explain, are both those entrances where people are going to be walking in and out?
Yeah, we do have two entrances. So we have the main entrance, which is off of the Bradburn Boulevard, and then we have a back entrance, which is actually where our parking lot is. So as far as right now goes, they will be entering from both entrances, but more so from the parking lot back entrance. So that will be our main entrance, because we have all the retail shops, and there's usually not a bunch of spots in the Bradburn Boulevard side.
Thank you. And are you going to be having dances like on weekends?
Dances as in dancing at weddings, yes.
But not like just weekend dances where somebody can go and dance like Friday, Saturday night?
Yeah, so the way that our building is set up, it's pretty nice actually, because our main ballroom where dinner and dancing will take place is actually located on the north side, which faces all of the like 5280 Burger and the Fuzzy's Tacos. So a lot of where our noise will be is facing retail and not facing residential. We're not going to be a nightclub though. We will just have mainly weddings, proms, you know, social events, galas, things like that.
Thank you. And then I was looking at your your other investors.
Mm-hmm.
What type of role are they going to be playing in this license?
They're all passive.
And then I was looking at the percentages of ownership and comparing that to the overall investment of $50,000, and the dollar amounts per investor does not equal that $50,000. They're still approximately 14% short of that $50,000. Can you explain that?
That would be an error of some sort. I'll have to look on that.
Let's see what else I had here. Yeah, it only totals up. The dollar investments only total up to $42,850, and you're showing a $50,000 total investment.
It was a $50,000 total investment. I wonder if that is because we're only adding the investment of those who have a 10% or greater interest.
I'm not sure. You'll have to. You'll
Okay.
have.
I'm sorry, Mary Joy. Where would I find that in our application?
And then another question. You
know?
folks don't have any experience at all in running or having a liquor license. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And none of the investors have any experience at all. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes.
We have I should say, small investor who did own a bar and restaurant over a decade ago. But he is a very small investor in the enterprise and won't have any active role.
Just your investor.
And John, I think where the disconnect on total, yeah, he's a passive investor. I think where the disconnect is, at least as I look at the application in section 27, it lists all of the owners of 10% or more. And when you add those up, you come up with 85.7%, which is 14.3% below 100. This only asked us to list the 10% or more owners. So the remaining 14.3% is held across a couple of individuals, none of whom exceed that 10% threshold.
And those individuals aren't listed?
They are not listed in section 27, no.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think that's all for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And John, just to clarify for the board, the application does only require listing of any outside investor that is over that 10% threshold. So you can have multiple people under that 10% threshold, and they are not required to be listed in that application.
Thanks for that clarification.
And if I may submit just one additional, sorry, Carol, just I will note that we're aware of our lack of experience in the liquor business. which is really why it was so important to us that we hired a top drawer consultant to be part of our team to ensure that not only does Mari's tip certification hold muster, but also that we make the right decisions as building a business around this liquor license, especially as it relates to selling alcohol by the drink at events, point of sale, inventory management, distributor relationships, those kinds of things. So we expect Phoebe to be an integral part of our team moving forward.
I have a few questions for the applicant.
Okay.
First question is, what would be the ratio of your staff size to these large events? So I didn't hear a mention of a lot of staff already being hired. It sounded like 2 or 3 individuals total, and we're talking about large weddings and proms. Could you go into a little bit more detail about the amount of staff you're thinking of hiring and what that ratio would look like compared to your extremely large events?
Definitely. So basically in our large ballroom, we can hold 250 comfortably, and that's with having food and also having a dance floor set up. So I foresee most of our events being, 200, 250 max. And that's with having a ceremony and then breaking off into the big ballroom for dinner and dancing. All of our events will, they will be using a preferred caterer. So that preferred caterer will be there the duration of the event. So we will actually have many staffing people from the catering company, staffing people from the bartending company, and then an event manager, and then a security guard as well. And I'm thinking any event over 150 will have a security guard. So there will be plenty of staff there.
Are you going to be ensuring, after coming out of tip certification yourself, will you be ensuring that the third-party bartending company is tip certifying all of their employees?
Definitely. That will be a requirement for my venue.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a couple of questions. The property owner is a different LLC and you are a operations LLC. What's the connection?
I'll weigh in there. So the property is owned substantially by the same general group of people that own the operating company. Whereas Mari owns the operating company, I'm as part of our household, I'm actually the material owner of the real estate. However, they are separate legal entities with a lease between the two, and obviously a different capital stack. But there is a called affiliation between the ownership at the property level and the ownership at the operating company level.
Did you provide a copy of the lease with the application?
I did, yes, we did.
All right. That was my main question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
I have one more. With COVID going on, what are you looking at? What kind of a business plan do you have? Because obviously you're not allowed to have events for foreseeable, any kind of large event like that, probably for months. Do you have an operating plan or a business plan or some type of a, forecast under these circumstances?
I do. So luckily, I was fortunate to get 2 different churches that are renting space from me. So I have a church that's renting from me every Sunday and an additional church that's renting from me every Wednesday. So I'm having to get a little creative right now. Obviously, with the weddings right now, they're like not able to happen at all. I'm having to kind of get just creative. I'm also a fitness instructor by trade, and I teach at several gyms, and I've taught for 16 years and have a pretty good following. So I'm teaching fitness classes as well, because I can do that under the COVID requirements right now. I'm also coaching a girls soccer team 2 nights a week. That's with the city of Westminster. So I feel like, it's just very community oriented. So just kind of, whatever I can do at this point to stay open. So that's what I'm going to do. And then hopefully we'll kick COVID to the curb and we can move on and have some parties.
What are you looking at your anticipated opening date being?
So I'm actually open now. I've renovated the whole entire building. I've sanded and stained all the hardwood floors, new paint throughout, new furniture, new lighting, new landscaping, just kind of giving it a new look, new ownership. I know Noah's had a bad reputation, and so we just really want to come in, and we're not corporate by any means. We're definitely family oriented. We just want to do good in the community and just be kind of a cool place to be for everybody.
You already have weddings booked?
I actually do. I have a small wedding in February, a 20-person wedding. I
Nice.
have a couple people looking at booking for 2021 and also 2022.
Of course, if anyone has daughters, sons, or themselves are getting married, please consider us.
Or if you need a workout, I'm here too for that.
This is John Velasquez again. Mary Joy, you sent us a copy of the cabaret license information. It was on page 30 of the packet. Can you speak to that a little bit about items in that?
Yes, those are responses, and those responses are provided from the city's planning and building divisions. And they're to address those very specific issues of lighting, noise, traffic, parking. And the biggest, I think, item that I would want to draw your attention to is that this building was specifically developed to be an event center. That's there was an ODP just for that location. So all of those items, per the planning and building department, in their opinion, they believe it meets the requirements for lighting, parking, not disturbing the area. And those were also taken into consideration when the official development plan was approved, which was probably, I would guess, 7 or so years ago. Does that answer your question, John?
Yes, thank you very much. That's very, very good information.
Mary Joy, in the packet, did you provide the 8 factors for a cabaret license that should be considered?
I did. I included a copy of the application, which has those factors, and then right behind that are the responses that I just spoke about.
And that's why I just want the board to be aware that there are 8 factors to be considering, and whether or not to grant or deny the cabaret aspect of the license. So if anyone has questions regarding any of those 8 factors, now would be the time to ask those.
I have a question, and I know that the owners need to be more creative during 2020 and even 2021 with the state of the pandemic. But it sounds like there's a lot of different facets going on between makeshift gym, weddings. I understand it's an event center, but I want to know what your core theme of your business is going to be. What is your 5-year goal? What kinds of events specifically are you going to be catering to the most?
So my plan is to be catering to weddings. So I want to be a wedding venue. That's my main goal. But basically, with a wedding, usually people are getting married Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and even Sunday nights. So during the day when it's not being utilized, that's why it's kind of a no-brainer to use that as, a gym or just to get more traffic in the building. So I think, you have this great space and you can kind of utilize it as the gym. So my vision is I've always wanted to have an event center, but I've also wanted to have a gym, and it's kind of the best of both worlds because I can do both because they don't conflict with each other. Obviously, I didn't really think about having any churches meet there. But these opportunities presented themselves, and it's, you know, very helpful in this time right now when I'm not able to host a wedding or host a party. So I like the idea of having a church there when it's not being used. So mainly my focus is wedding venues, but, you know, like we said, just getting creative right now.
Thank you.
Question for the applicant. The 8 characters that were just discussed is page 29. And I specifically want to speak to you about prior experience and qualification to operate this business. And I know you've spoken to great lengths about your desire to operate this in a community-minded manner. The concern is that you carry many hats. You are a fitness instructor at many places. You are a soccer mom. I guess you coach soccer. You said something like that in the evenings. Can you assure the board that you're not going to take this as a part-time opportunity and think that your vendors are going to just run the show for you and you'll be the armchair quarterback? I think the board needs a little bit more assurance from you that you are sincere about this establishment taking precedent over some of the other activities that you partake in.
Right. So, you know, my background before I've done any of this is I was an office manager for 10 plus years. I've done property management. I've oversaw all of the construction. So I was the general contractor at the building. My main focus is to be the manager of this building and to run this building. It's my reputation on the line. And I think also my reputation is what's going to be getting me business. So I'm not a soccer coach. I'm a fitness instructor, and I'm helping some soccer teams right now just kind of stay in shape over the winter with people just with COVID. But my main focus is to be the manager of this venue, and I'm not going to let people do the job for me. Believe me, I'm completely a control freak, and I'm definitely taking this position seriously. It's always been my dream. So this is, you know, taking it day by day and also getting all the proper training and just learning the business from the ground up.
And I'll just supplement that a little bit, being her husband as well. I now am the one at home trying to make dinner poorly, taking care of the kids. It's sort of, she's allowed me to live my dream on some of my career aspirations over the last 10 plus years. And so now I've sort of cleared her plate a little bit on the home front so that she can be laser focused, and has been since we bought this place in August. And she started to operate it. This has been a 60+ hour a week job and will continue to be so. But I can speak to her dedication and this being her number one 100% priority focus.
Thank you. Anybody else from the board?
So if there's no other questions, I want to make sure that this is fair and equitable for all applicants, including prior applicants that have applied for a similar license, including a cabaret license. One of the questions, and just so you know, I'm legal counsel for the board, so I'm not here to vote in any capacity, but wanted to make sure we are following a fair and equitable process each time. And prior application, when there has only been one manager, the board has inquired and relied on testimony regarding what would happen if you became ill, if something were to happen with your children that you wouldn't be able to go in the times of COVID, if you were to get COVID, any kind of absence, how would you handle that kind of process with management if you are going to be the sole manager of this establishment? Or is there a different plan that's going to have maybe an assistant or something like that?
Definitely. So my plan right now is I've hired a consultant group that they actually get venues up and running. So they were able to come in and help me kind of price out what I was going to rent it out for Friday, Saturday nights, help me with all of the contract and all of the logistics of running a venue. And they also have a staff of 6 event managers who have been doing this for 20 plus years. So in the event that I can't work a wedding, I will definitely go with their group because they have experience. They will know my venue. They will know all of my policies and procedures because they help me make them. So they will be my backup anytime that I am not available. So if anything were to happen to me, God forbid, they would be the go-to person. And they have 6 on staff right now that would know my venue and would be helping me if I went on vacation or anything like that. And they're TIP certified as well and insured. Did that answer your question?
Are there other questions from the board regarding the specifics of the managerial aspect of how this operation would be run?
This is John Velasquez. So how many organizations like this exist that you might possibly use? Because I think there would be some situations where some of them might not be available.
So are you asking about the bartenders?
Just the overall operation, if you were not able to get in there and manage and do your job.
So if I couldn't get one of the 6 event managers, then I would pull either one of my business partners who will also, have, enough experience that would be able to come and help me in an emergency situation, but we would make sure that, they're trained as well before we even go down that route. But I mean, I don't think that I'm going to run into the problem if there's 6 of the event managers that I can pull from if I give enough notice. And I mean, if God forbid something happened to me tomorrow and I couldn't be at a wedding on Saturday, then I think that event would have to get canceled. Because we need to keep, the community safe and make sure that all liquor is being served the right way. And if we can't have an event, we can't have an event. We would have to reschedule.
So what amount of time a week, hours a week that you would expect you would have to work?
So basically, the way that my role as the manager of this venue works is I'm meeting people right now for tours. So anytime I get an inquiry off of our website or off of social media, or we're also listed on 2 different websites, the Wedding Wire and the knot.com right now. So anytime I get an inquiry for those, I'm meeting people for a tour. So those are kind of few and far between. I'm usually doing like 3 on a Saturday. And so that's been what I've been doing, is meeting people for tours. And then I would work the event. So if it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday night event, I would be working those events. So I'm not there all day, every day, all night, every night. It's just mainly for the tours and then for the event.
So when you're not there, it's open or closed?
It's closed when I'm not there.
Thank you.
Yep, it's private tours only. So they have to schedule a tour with me to be able to come see the venue.
So I got one last question. So if you did so for some reason you did get a liquor violation or you did serve a minor, what would happen to that liquor vendor or that event manager who's working? How would you hold them accountable? What would you do to them?
I would definitely not be using their services again, because that's very important to me that cannot happen under any circumstance.
What would happen to that? What would happen to that event manager who's working that's on your staff?
Same thing as well. That just cannot happen, period.
I think some of the confusion for me is that you're really not having any events right now. I mean, you're just renting the space or donating the space or whatever. And I guess that's probably, a little confusing for what we are trying to approve for you, is a liquor license for events.
Right.
You mentioned prom. Obviously, you're not going to have liquor at a prom.
No.
I mean, so, I get that part. So I think that maybe that's some of the, not confusion, but my concern that we're really not just talking about events at this point. We're talking about your space being used currently.
Right. And so, I mean, in order for me to stay in business, I'm going to need to host events. But unfortunately, the only reason why I'm not having events right now is because of COVID. That's the only reason. So, I mean, as soon as I'm able to have events, then it's game time and, you know, I can have events. But I mean, COVID is my whole holdup right now. And that's the only reason why I'm having to get creative.
Well, I'll also say that events are being booked well into the summer at this point already. So as you probably know, somebody who's looking to book a wedding usually does so well in advance. And so people are booking weddings now. And part of our business model is we do take a deposit. And then obviously if COVID causes them to bump the event, we give them a window in which to reschedule. But we take deposits now, which are non-refundable. And a lot of questions we are getting from whether it's the bride or the family is, are you guys able to, you know, sell liquor? I mean, is that part of the event that we're purchasing here? And so I think even though COVID's preventing us from actually holding events right now, our business is still moving forward as if we're going to hold events in the future and booking out into the future, whether it's a vaccine or something else that gets us out of this situation. We do plan to hit the ground pretty hard running once we can.
Ms. Mo, are you asking about whether or not this licensed establishment will be serving alcohol for events outside of what they have described as the main focus of the business?
Well, in a way, because again, I'm confused that right now we're not, like, you could be having a workout session and serving wine to, I'm not saying you do, I'm just saying that, you know, we're not strictly talking events here. I don't know if churches drink or not, but there might be some out there that do that. So we're trying to focus the liquor license strictly on future events. And that's what I'm saying. I think that that's something that's getting muddling up the waters here a little bit, because we're not talking about the typical event in my mind.
Well, and just to be clear, it will be an event venue. It's just booking events for the future. And you know how long it takes to plan a wedding too. It's, you know, a year to maybe more to plan an event. And also, you know, when I do have brides that are coming in right now asking about liquor, a lot of people want to bring it in themselves. And I just think that it's safer for the community if we're monitoring it and we're selling it and we're serving it and, you know, we're responsible for it. I just think it's a better, you know, for us to have our liquor license than to just kind of let people bring in their own.
Team, I'm viewing this as she's being very proactive. I mean, this is someone, if all of us, any of us on this meeting that have owned a business ourselves, we've gone through this process, and I'm viewing this as she is being very proactive and thinking ahead.
I totally agree with you, Tracy. But
Yeah.
And I agree 100% with that also.
To the applicant, if you have a liquor license, are you buying liquor?
We will be buying our liquor and storing it at our facility.
And then who will be serving the liquor?
Only the licensed bartenders.
Whose employees will they be?
They will either be from a third party, so either like a Peak Beverage or With a Twist. These are bartending services that are all tip certified and insured. So they are completely trained. They would be trained on my venue. And then I would be requiring that only like the same, you know, 5 are working at my venue so that I would know them personally and have, you know, a good reputation and know that they're following all the rules.
Do you understand the chain of events that can occur if there was a possible violation?
I do.
You are the sole holder of this license, and then that would mean that all the employees will fall under you.
Right.
Regardless if they come from a third party or not. So I just want to reiterate this sincerity in this operation.
Definitely. I did take the whole tip certification class about a little over a month ago, and so I'm completely aware of all the rules and how it's completely on me for having this license and all the risks that are involved.
because we definitely want you to succeed. We definitely just don't want to see you again on this.
Yeah, for sure.
The last thing I
I
would
just
say,
have a question. Oh, sorry, Ron.
I would say, I didn't know the other question. I just would remind the board that the concerns have been expressed about lack of experience. I would remind the board that the consultant for Ms. Roberts, Ms. Phoebe Hall, is on the call right now. So if the board does want to swear her in and ask any questions regarding her role in this and how she's going to help out with the lack of experience, that person is available to ask questions of if this board sees fit as well.
Thanks, Ron. And before anyone asks Phoebe any questions, if they have any, I just want to touch real quick on the location and the noise that might potentially occur. Can you describe, it sounded like you were close to, like practically next door to Fuzzy's Tacos and a couple of those other businesses. Can you talk about how close to neighboring townhomes you are?
Yes, I can actually. I used to live in the townhomes, so I can speak to that from experience and also just from the way that my building is set up. So the nice thing about our building is it's got soundboards in every single room that kind of muffle all the sounds inside the building, but also on our big ballroom where dinner and dancing will be taking place, there's 2 outside doors, and then there's a corridor. So really, when you open this door to go outside, there's like a room. So even if this door was propped open, these doors will always be closed. So that completely kind of mitigates the sound. And I've blasted the music in there because we have speakers throughout big ballroom, and I've gone outside and you can barely even hear anything. So I think that's a great, just feature that I've tested out myself. And then I've also talked to a lot of the neighbors. I used to live in the neighborhood. So a lot of the people that still live there, and also people that live there that go to school with my kids, and just people in the community have asked them a lot about the noise. And everybody honestly is just so excited that we're here. And everybody just said that, there really wasn't any problem. They didn't really notice any noise. So they were just kind of excited that, we were here and that it wasn't vacant anymore.
And I'll also just add just one other thing. I think we're actually restricted from having any exterior music or live music outside of the 4 walls of the property. So that's also there.
Great. Thank you both for your very appreciate it.
Any other questions from the board? Last call. All right. Does the applicant have anybody that wants to testify in the favor of the application?
I don't.
Okay. Is there anybody in the audience that opposes the application? Okay, with that, we'd like to close the public portion of the hearing and like to open this up to the board members only for our discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I know she doesn't have any liquor experience, but I think she's done a good job. I think she's got a good plan, and I don't have any, I don't oppose to it. I think she's good to go. I'd vote for it.
I want to interrupt. Is everyone off of the call that needs the call?
Do you want us to get off the call? Sorry.
Do we need to drop off?
No.
This is all a public hearing, so this is just the communication between the board members, but you are welcome to be present for it all.
Okay, thank you.
This is John Velasquez. I'm kind of struggling with this because we've set a precedent just recently regarding experience, liquor license experience and operation of a cabaret license. And I'm kind of struggling with this because the applicant doesn't have any experience. I think she's done a very good. She's got a very good plan, but without the experience, she's just she's just guessing as to how she's going to run this operation. I am not very comfortable with the applicant pulling in an outside vendor to run her establishment when she's not there. I'm not sure that outside vendor would follow the rules because she isn't there. And would they be doing the same thing she would do? So I'm struggling with this. And, you know, I just want to make everybody aware that I'm struggling with this and I'm not really sure how I'm going to be voting.
Would you want to talk to the consultant? Do you want to have questions for the consultant?
Oh, I mean, if the consultant has something that they could offer to help me make a decision, then I'm open to that.
Because we can ask David to open up the public portion of the meeting again.
Well, let me see if I can shed some light for the board members on this. You know, my firm operates full service hotels. We do the same thing plus hotel rooms. And you have to understand this business model. When you just have event space, there is no fixed schedule when meetings can occur. So you cannot ask this applicant to have a full-time staff of bartenders and so on and so forth. Otherwise, this business doesn't work. So I want to assure you guys that the business plan that I see from the applicant fits the business model that they have. And you certainly cannot keep people on staff if you don't have any events for 2 weeks. You know, there's a reason why they don't have cooks. There's a reason why, you know, they're not going to be dishwashing and things like that. This is a different business model than what we are used to seeing. And I hope I shed some light on how they operate to make the board members slightly more comfortable. That I believe this is an honest business plan. And the experience, there's a lack of experience, but I believe the local connection and the sincerity that's shown by the applicants. Also, they passed the tips question that I asked. One of the only applicants that showed up with tips in hand. So I hope we can get over item number 2.
So before you go, John, I'll just clarify Mr. Amin's statement that you cannot have these people, I think, referred to a business standpoint. This board does have the legal authority to require specifics within a business or within a liquor license. So I just wanted to make it clear that the statement that they cannot have that is not something that is legally impermissible, but it sounds as if it's from a business standpoint in Mr. Amin's opinion.
I would like to add that I think that the Roberts have done everything possible to make this a successful venture and going forward. So it's pretty easy for me.
Absolutely, and I totally agree with David. You can't, you know, in this business model, you can't have your own staff of bartenders and cooks. You have to use outside caterers. You have to use outside bartenders, or you're not going to succeed.
I would add, I appreciate that she has, both of them have quite the backup plan. If there's some type of emergency, they've already come up with a contingency plan where they have a backup of 6 individuals from a firm that could jump in. And I think she has gone above and beyond with her preparation for the meeting. I'd vote yes.
John, I hope some of this helped you on your question. If there's no other questions, can I please have a motion?
Absolutely. Based on the evidence and testimony presented, I move that the board find that the application satisfies the state and local requirements for the licensure, and the board approves the application.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Does Mary Joy, you're going to do a roll call?
Yeah, let me do a roll call. Amin,
Before
Yes.
you start, I just want to clarify that is this motion specifically for the liquor license or for both the liquor license and the cabaret? As I would suggest you do each of them individually so there's a clear record on each license application.
All right, we can do them individually. So this is for the liquor license.
Amin,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Hatfield,
Yes.
Mo,
Yes.
Rommelfanger,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Velasquez.
No.
Okay, that motion vote was 5-1.
If we can have the second motion for the cabaret license, please.
All right, for the cabaret license, I make a motion to approve based on the evidence and testimony presented. I move that the board finds the application satisfies the state and local requirements for the license, and that the board approves the applications for the cabaret license.
A second, please.
This is
I'll
John. I second it.
Mary Jo, can you do the vote?
Amin,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Hatfield,
Yes.
Mo,
Yes.
Rommelfanger,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Velasquez.
Yes.
That motion is a 6-0 vote.
Congratulations to the applicants, and thank you for taking on a struggling Noah's. I know the story of it, and I believe you are the right people to get this done. We'll look forward to having great events there. Thank you for being part of it.
Congratulations and good luck.
Mary Joy, before, just so we have a clear record of the minutes, I believe it was a 6-1 vote and a 7-0 vote.
You're right. I'm sorry, I miscounted. That's correct. 6-1 on the liquor license and a 7-0 on the cabaret.
Okay, with your application approved, you are excused.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, let's. Hold
So
on, we gotta scroll to the right page here.
Can I make a comment? I find it refreshing to actually have a local native live her dream. I find it refreshing because in all of these meetings, we have organizations, companies from other states. I don't know how all of you feel about that. I do hope they're very successful here locally where they're from.
Yeah, that being said, I agree with you. And also, I would just say that building and is intricate to the community. It just is.
Mary Jo, would you mind, I don't know if you have Parker's number, but I don't know if you thought maybe we were done.
oh, let me see.
Oh, never mind. He must have just had a bad connection.
Okay, good.
Hey Parker, you
Yeah,
need to get a,
for
you need to
my
get
kids.
a checkout slip before you check out like that.
Yeah, I set up time limits for my kids. So as soon as the time limit went up, it told me my time limit has been reached. So it kicked me off the iPad.
Hey, next time get a hall pass, okay?
Right, exactly.
So I just wanted to let the board know that I don't have any items to anything that would be ready for any of the hearings in December. But, well, I should say we had this one is December, the second meeting in December, to be clear. But I do have a new hotel restaurant liquor license that I have scheduled for January, the January 6th, 2021 hearing. Another item that I just wanted to let you know that I did receive notice this week that Oedipus is no longer going to be doing surveying. So I'll be working, contacting, putting together, I don't know if I'll have to do an RFP. I have to talk to the city attorney's office about that. But we'll be looking to contract with another surveying company since they have decided to shut down that part of their business.
So the question for this board would then be that we have previously voted on a prior board that we would exempt Oedipus from coming and testifying because we have seen and heard all of their reports and their findings in the past. Would this board, if we were to select a new vendor, want to initially start off with having that company come in specifically to testify about any of their processes, their procedures, and how this is done? Because I think that'll be important to list if we're going to be doing that in any kind of RFP or solicitation of quotes.
I would think so, at least at the beginning, until we can figure out the procedures and how they do things.
I would agree.
I mean, Oedipus, we know very well.
As long as they don't make silly jokes, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I think it's a good idea that we meet the face of the new company and you know, get an understanding of their procedures and if they have the ability to join us in any of these meetings, if we have questions, so on and so forth.
Jefferson County does use two different companies, so they have a company too.
Yeah,
Anyone
I know
else? Oh, sorry, Mary Joy.
that's okay. I just know that I know there's a couple of other companies out there. I've seen it on the clerk's listserv because I think Oedipus did, you know, probably have a good portion of the cities doing the surveying for them. So we'll definitely reach out to the ones, you know, I don't even know how many there are. So we'll definitely reach out to them and get somebody under contract and make sure that we get them scheduled to come in and meet with the board.
Any other input, positive, negative, as far as having them come in to testify?
Very positive.
I agree. We should meet them the first time at least.
I agree too.
I don't think it hurts to have them on every meeting. I mean, at the end of the day, it's part of their contract that they do with the client. So if there's an opportunity for them to participate, that would be fine. And, you know, we want the procedure to feel comfortable to the applicant so that if there is any question on the survey, it's not who do we reach out to. We need to have all responsible parties present, is my opinion.
For those board members, I think Carol and Tracy who weren't present at the last time we discussed this, and maybe John, I don't remember, but Oedipus used to come in and testify, and the applicant could ask questions, the board could ask questions, especially if there were a little bit more no's than usual or signatures. They were very aware of the laws around that and could answer that. Oedipus specifically requested for them to be excused from the meetings to not testify because they were having so much business in different jurisdictions that had meetings at the same time that it was becoming difficult for them to appear in all the different jurisdictions. So it was by their request that we don't hear from them anymore. In the past, it had always been that they were present to testify. And the downside that we discussed and weighed the positives and negatives is that if the applicant or anyone else in the audience or any board members have questions for the surveyor, that meeting gets continued. So everything you go through up to that point is continued then to a later time, and the applicant and everyone else will have to come back at a different time to allow them to come in to testify. So that's just a little bit of an edification for your benefit as to what had happened historically and the negatives and positives with that request specifically.
Thanks, Ron.
If we don't have any other questions or comments, let's look for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn the December 2nd meeting.
Second?
Second, John, seconds.
Okay. Mary Joy, then the board wishes you a Merry Christmas, and the board looks forward to seeing you in 2021.
Yes, yes, you all have a good holiday too. And you may hear from me in the next month. You never know. Hi, Rich.
Good.
Merry Christmas to all of you. Have a happy holiday
Merry
season.
Christmas. Happy
Thank you.
holidays.
Hey, Ron, I'm
Bye.
gonna call you real quick.
Okay.
See everyone later. Thanks.
Bye.